Since their earliest days, journalism and the media have shown that they are the fastest and most effective tools for shaping public opinion. With just one photo, an ordinary person can instantly become a superstar. But with only a few baseless sentences, the life of a celebrity can fall apart, turning them into a target of attacks. Thanks to the media's watchful eyes, the whole world witnessed one of the most mysterious accidents in history. On an August night in Paris, a Mercedes crashed hard into a pillar, creating a chaotic scene. Just a few hours later, the world was shocked by the news. Princess Diana had passed away. The death of the English Rose left behind not only deep sorrow and regret, but also opened the door to countless unexplained mysteries. Was there a conspiracy behind this tragic accident? What was hidden behind the misty night in Paris that year? Who was the true culprit behind this case of the century? You are watching a scene from the hit Netflix series The Crown. The series focuses on a figure known as the People's Princess. Diana. Who was this woman, and what made her so special? She was born on July 1st, 1961, in Sandringham, Norfolk, into a noble family. She was the fourth of 5 children born to Viscount Althorp and Earl Spencer. The Spencer lineage is one of the most prestigious and long-standing aristocratic families in England, closely connected to the royal family. This connection gave Diana early exposure to royal circles, including princes. In the summer of 1980, Diana and Prince Charles met during a hunting party hosted by the Spencer family. At just 19 years old, Diana's beauty and charm won the hearts of the royal family, and she was soon seen as the future queen. Their royal relationship quickly led to the wedding of the century on July 29, 1981. The fairy tale wedding was broadcast to 750 million viewers worldwide. The bride and groom wore embroidered silk shoes, diamond crowns, and rode in a glass carriage. Over 2,500 guests were invited with gold-stamped invitations, and more than 6,000 gifts were delivered to the palace. Diana's wedding dress was handcrafted from 40 meters of silk, with the fabric grown and woven in British farms. Most notably, her engagement ring was made of 18-karat gold, surrounded by 14 diamonds, and valued at $63,000 at the time. This glamorous display left the world in awe, and many believed Diana was truly a happy woman. But it wasn't just the fairy tale wedding. Diana also captured hearts through her charity work and compassion for the marginalized and suffering. She became a symbol of kindness, taking part in powerful campaigns like raising awareness about HIV/AIDS, a disease heavily stigmatized at the time. Diana even traveled to war-torn regions like Angola to shed light on the dangers of landmines. Her image walking across a minefield became a global symbol. With public adoration, many thought she would live happily with her family and continue her heartfelt humanitarian mission. But just a year after the wedding, things began to unravel. The dream marriage was not as perfect as it seemed. The couple's happy time didn't last long. Conflicts began to surface more frequently, and they couldn't find a way to reconcile. Many believed that their courtship had been too brief and the marriage rushed, leaving them unable to align in personality or lifestyle. But the real cause was far more complicated. The presence of one woman marked the end of the world's most admired marriage at the time. Her name was Camilla Parker. The media claimed that Camilla was the woman Prince Charles truly loved, and the two seemed to share a destined connection. In 1972, during a party, Camilla reportedly said that her great-grandmother and Charles's great-grandfather had once been in love, something that made her feel they were meant to be. That story acted as a spark for a passionate relationship. Later that same year, Charles confessed his love, but Camilla declined, afraid of the constraints of royal life. By early 1973, she married Andrew Parker Bowles, a close friend of Charles. Though heartbroken, Charles was pressured by the royal family to marry Diana as a replacement. Camilla's rejection left a lasting wound in Charles's heart. Even after marrying Diana, Prince Charles couldn't let go of his deep love for Camilla. When their first son, Prince William, was born, tensions in the marriage began to rise. Charles's longing for Camilla hurt both Diana and Camilla's husband. His obsession with the past cost him not only his marriage, but also his friendship with Andrew Parker Bowles. The strain in their relationship worsened, and the strict royal protocols took a toll on Diana's mental health. She suffered from depression, eating disorders, and emotional instability. Despite her condition, Charles showed little concern. In a 1994 BBC interview, he admitted he had continued seeing Camilla after marrying Diana and had been waiting for the marriage to collapse to return to her. From that moment, the public realized Charles had never truly loved Diana. The so-called wedding of the century was merely an obligation. According to Princess Diana's biography, the moment that truly ended their marriage was the birth of their second son, Prince Harry. Prince Charles had always longed for a daughter, and upon learning he had two sons, he couldn't hide his disappointment. He was especially upset that Harry had red hair, a genetic trait from Diana's Spencer family. In December 1992, after years of speculation, British Prime Minister John Major announced that the couple had officially separated. The news quickly became a media sensation, followed by a wave of interviews with both Charles and Diana. The dark side of the marriage soon surfaced. Not only was Charles unfaithful, but Diana was also rumored to have had affairs. Among them were her bodyguard Barry Manickey and James Hewitt, a former cavalry officer, someone Diana later admitted to having an affair with. There were allegations that Princess Diana had been involved with several other men. The flame of love between her and Charles had completely died out, leaving no hope for reconciliation. Finally, in August 1996, they filed for divorce, officially ending their marriage. After the separation, Diana attracted more public attention than ever before. Paparazzi constantly followed her every move, eager for updates on the Princess of Wales. It was they who would later witness the most horrifying moment of Diana's life. About a year after the divorce, Diana and her two sons were invited to a Mediterranean yacht vacation with the Al Fayed family. It was the perfect chance for her to relax after the emotional toll of the divorce. During this trip, she met Dodi Fayed, the man seen in these images. Dodi was an Egyptian film producer and the son of billionaire Mohammed Al Fayed. At the time, privacy wasn't prioritized as it is today, and Diana's new relationship quickly became front-page news. Still, the media attention didn't seem to affect her bond with Dodi. However, this budding romance came to a tragic and mysterious end. Just past midnight on August 31st, 1997, a shocking event unfolded before the eyes of the press. Princess Diana's car was involved in a fatal crash on the streets of Paris. What exactly happened? Let's go back one day earlier. On August 30th, after their holiday in Sardinia, the couple flew from Olbia Airport to Le Bourget Airport in Paris. In the City of Lights, they checked into the Ritz Hotel, owned by the Al Fayed family. They had planned to visit Dodi's father at his private apartment the following day. Diana's presence in Paris quickly drew the attention of the paparazzi. Crowds of photographers gathered outside Place Vendôme, the famous square where her hotel was located. protect Diana and her partner, the security team deployed a decoy vehicle in hopes of distracting the paparazzi. The plan worked to some extent, drawing away most photographers. However, a few remained behind, determined to capture a clear shot of the couple to sell to the press. Meanwhile, Diana and Dodi were escorted out the hotel's rear entrance and into a waiting armored Mercedes S 280 sedan. Inside the car were 4 people: Diana, Dodi, bodyguard Trevor Rees-Jones, and driver Henry Paul. For unknown reasons, no one in the car wore a seatbelt. As they drove off, eyewitnesses reported that the car was quickly surrounded by photographers. To escape them, the driver entered a tunnel at over 100 kilometers per hour, more than twice the legal speed limit. Tragically, the attempt to flee ended in disaster. The car lost control, clipped a white Fiat Uno, then veered into the left lane and slammed into a concrete pillar. The horrific crash stunned the photographers and bystanders who witnessed it firsthand. Some people at the scene tried to help the victims, while others quickly snapped gruesome photos of the wreckage to sell to the press. Police arrived swiftly to investigate. The front of the car was completely crushed. Driver Henri Paul and Dodi Fayed, the billionaire's son, died instantly. Bodyguard Trevor Rees-Jones survived but suffered severe facial injuries and head trauma. He lived, but remembered nothing about the crash. And what about our beloved princess? At first, Diana appeared conscious and in shock. Outwardly, she didn't seem severely injured. Paramedics sedated her and carefully removed her from the vehicle to rush her to the hospital. Tragically, Diana suffered cardiac arrest en route. Doctors discovered her heart had been pushed to the right side of her chest from the impact, tearing the left pulmonary vein and the pericardium. Her condition was far worse than it appeared. At 3 a.m., Princess Diana passed away. The world was stunned by the sudden passing of the English Rose. Newspapers across the globe quickly reported the tragedy, with bold headlines reading, "Diana is dead," splashed on their front pages. Princess Diana's state funeral became one of the most sorrowful moments in British history. People waited in long lines to pay respects, lay flowers, and sign condolence books. Around 3 million mourners filled the streets of London, while 31.5 million viewers in the UK watched the broadcast. Globally, 2.5 billion people tuned in, nearly 1/3 of the world's population at the time. Not since the assassination of U.S. President John F. Kennedy had the world witnessed such overwhelming grief. But was the death of the Princess of Wales truly just an accident? What did the police conclude? Were there hidden truths or sinister conspiracies behind the crash? The French government launched a massive investigation to uncover the real cause of Diana's untimely death. Police quickly arrived at the scene and began an investigation. They concluded that the crash occurred because the driver, Henri Paul, was speeding while under the influence of alcohol. His blood alcohol level was later found to be about 3.5 times the legal limit. Additionally, he had taken sedatives before driving, which impaired his ability to control the vehicle. This conclusion sparked outrage worldwide. Many believed the authorities were too quick to draw final conclusions. Speculation and conspiracy theories soon followed. What role did the paparazzi play that night? Was this truly a random car crash, or something more? At the time, Princess Diana was more famous than ever following her divorce from Prince Charles. Stripped of her title and royal privileges, she was seen by some as an embarrassment to the monarchy. As a result, a theory emerged that the British royal family orchestrated the crash to eliminate someone who had tarnished their reputation. This theory gained traction and was supported by several compelling pieces of evidence. was later discovered that in November 1995, 2 years before her death, Princess Diana gave an interview to Panorama, the BBC's flagship current affairs program. In it, she confessed to having a strong feeling that she would be killed or die in a mysterious way, perhaps in a crash involving a helicopter, plane, or car. At the time, Diana was adored by many, but also had powerful enemies, especially within the British royal family. When news of her death reached the monarchy, Queen Elizabeth II was staying at Balmoral Castle in Scotland. The royal family made no public statement and remained silent for several days. This silence outraged the public, who began to suspect the monarchy itself was involved. Under growing pressure, the Queen was forced to respond. One major gesture was the decision to fly the Union flag at half-mast over Buckingham Palace, a historic first for a divorced royal. Still, it wasn't enough to stop the speculation. Many believed the royal family orchestrated Diana's death. Were those cold, delayed reactions part of a cover-up? One of the most outspoken figures at the time was billionaire Mohammed Al Fayed, father of Dodi. He claimed that the British government orchestrated the crash to prevent a Muslim man from marrying the beloved princess. According to him, Prince Philip, husband of Queen Elizabeth II, was behind the plot, ordering British agents to kill Diana and Dodi because he disapproved of their relationship. It was especially controversial because Diana's son was next in line to the throne, and the idea of a future king calling a Muslim man father was seen as unacceptable by the royal family. Al-Fayed also alleged that another car appeared inside the tunnel, cutting off Diana's Mercedes and forcing the driver, Henry Paul, to swerve. He believed the paparazzi at the scene were working in coordination with British intelligence agency MI6, chasing the vehicle and pressuring it to speed. If these were the only claims, the theory might not have gained much traction, but there was more. The crash was also believed by some to have paved the way for Prince Charles to formally marry Camilla, and that's exactly what happened. After Diana's death, Charles and Camilla became increasingly open about their relationship, eventually marrying in April 2005. Camilla was crowned Queen Consort, a cruel twist in Diana's story. However, the police dismissed billionaire Mohammed Al Fayed's accusations as completely baseless. Beyond royal conspiracy theories, another speculation pointed to the paparazzi as the ones who indirectly caused the crash. A public survey revealed that 43% of Britons blamed the press. For years, Diana had been a media obsession, so much so that she was once called the most photographed woman in the world. Many believe that the relentless attention, with cameras following her nearly 24/7, stripped her of all privacy, and that obsessive pursuit played a role in the tragedy. Even in Paris, Diana couldn't escape the relentless pursuit of paparazzi. They tracked her every move, hoping to capture the latest updates on the world's most famous woman. On the night of the crash, photographers chased Diana's Mercedes through poorly lit streets. To get usable photos, they likely used powerful flash equipment. The bursts of light may have impaired driver Henry Paul's vision and caused him to panic, accelerating the car and ultimately losing control. Additionally, the photographers, working for competing media outlets, were driven by intense rivalry, each desperate to get the most valuable shot. Their chaotic pursuit likely played a role in the tragic outcome. Do you remember the Fiat Uno that Henry Paul reportedly struck before the fatal crash? Interestingly, this model was manufactured between 1983 and 1989. And it just so happens that a professional French paparazzo named James Anderson owned a similar vehicle. Public suspicion increasingly turned toward James Anderson, with many believing the paparazzi were the real culprits behind the crash. Billionaire Mohammed Al-Fayed claimed that Anderson had cooperated with British intelligence agency MI6 to assassinate Princess Diana and his son, Dodi. However, later analysis revealed that the white paint traces found on Diana's Mercedes did not match the paint on Anderson's Fiat Uno. His wife also stated he was home the night of the crash. Still, that didn't ease public pressure. Then, 3 years after the tragedy, James Anderson was found dead inside a burning BMW with a gunshot wound to the head. Surely, like many others, you sense something deeply suspicious here. Just as suspicions were intensifying toward the paparazzi, the man most frequently accused suddenly turned up dead. Many believe Anderson was silenced by MI6 to eliminate the last thread linking them to Diana's death, ensuring the truth would remain forever hidden. It all sounds eerily similar to the way witnesses vanish in crime thrillers we've seen countless times before. Although the theory involving the paparazzi seemed somewhat plausible, it was quickly dismissed. Taking photos is standard behavior for photographers, and there was no solid evidence linking them to any criminal conspiracy. So what, then, is the most reasonable explanation? Could Princess Diana's death really have been just a tragic accident? One source claimed that 2 years before her passing, Diana had confided in close friends that the brakes on her car had been tampered with. Following the French investigation, British authorities launched their own inquiry. 3 forensic and crash experts collaborated to examine every detail of the accident, hoping to find any signs of outside interference with the Mercedes. They even used a matching vehicle for comparison. Yet no part appeared to be sabotaged or altered in any way. Like many previous theories, this one also led to a dead end. The police concluded there was no evidence of external tampering with the car that caused the crash. But let's shift our perspective slightly. What if the culprit was one of the 3 people inside the car with Diana? It sounds far-fetched, but it's not impossible. Naturally, suspicion fell on the driver, Henri Paul, who died at the scene. What could have motivated him to sacrifice himself in such a catastrophic event? Was he possibly an undercover agent working for a secret organization? The biggest question remains, was Henri Paul truly drunk that night? As head of security, he knew he was responsible for protecting the life of a global icon and the son of a billionaire. Drinking before driving under such circumstances seems illogical. His blood alcohol level was reportedly over 3 times the legal limit, a detail that remains controversial to this day. If Henri Paul was truly intoxicated, it's reasonable to believe the others in the car would have noticed, through his breath, behavior, or flushed face. Would Diana really have trusted an impaired driver to help her escape the paparazzi? Those close to Paul described him as responsible, diligent, and committed to protecting lives. This raises the question, could the police have made a mistake in their conclusions? Some conspiracy theories argue that Paul's blood test results were falsified. The samples were taken at the crash site and during the autopsy, leaving room for possible tampering. Witnesses claimed he appeared sober and alert when leaving the Ritz Hotel. If that's true, why did he crash the car so violently? Another theory suggests Paul wasn't just head of security, but an undercover agent working for an intelligence agency like MI6. This suspicion stems from discoveries that he had large sums of unexplained money, far beyond what a hotel employee could normally earn. But if a powerful organization was involved, such a scenario suddenly seems plausible. Some speculated that Henri Paul was paid to assist in a planned assassination targeting Diana and Dodi. with Paul as the chosen agent to carry it out. He may have known the paparazzi would follow and was allegedly instructed to drive into the tunnel at high speed and crash at a predetermined point. The flashing lights of cameras could have conveniently masked the real intent, making the accident appear spontaneous. Paul's speed, exceeding 100 kilometers per hour, was seen as unusual. While his task was to evade the press, that velocity posed danger to everyone involved, including the photographers. Amid growing suspicion, the British government launched another investigation. Yet officials firmly denied claims that Paul was an undercover agent or that he played a central role in a conspiracy. Once again, another theory ended with no concrete evidence. Will the real answer forever remain hidden? The death of Princess Diana was a tragic event that captured the world's attention. It wasn't just the passing of a beautiful and ill-fated woman, but also a moment that raised serious questions about the media, the monarchy, and the nature of fame in modern society. Official investigations concluded that it was an accident caused by a drunk driver speeding. However, conspiracy theories have always persisted, claiming that the death of the English Rose was far more complex than it appeared. Her passing symbolized the collapse of a royal fairy tale and shattered public trust in the powerful forces behind the scenes. It also revealed that mystery often lingers behind glamour and authority. We can only believe that Diana's death was a tragic accident, rather than the result of any hidden motives or conspiracies. Personally, I believe her passing left an unfillable void in the public's understanding of her life. The love the public held for her turned Diana into a legend. She will always be remembered not just for her tragic end, but for the life she lived, full of compassion and empathy. From a girl who endured a painful childhood, Diana rose to become a symbol of kindness and a desire to change the world. Though deeply loved by the public, her life was marked by hardship, ending in a devastating crash. What truly caused her death? Who, if anyone, was behind it? We may never know for certain. Many theories have been proposed, but the case remains a part of the past. Still, I believe that the legacy Diana left behind will live on, forever inspiring generations to come. If you found this story meaningful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss our next videos.